Hello beautiful people, you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time, hello and welcome. Thank you so much for clicking. In this video I'll be showing you how to make the Zara headband with a face net. This is one of my subscribers requests and I want to say thank you so much for requesting for this. So I have the following materials to work with. I have asooke, about 2 layers is needed or okay for this project. I have Maco. Maco is this black thing you're seeing. It is used for making bags and shoes. You can get Maco from where they sell bags and shoe making materials. I usually get these questions in most of my videos. So Maco is sold by those who sell bags and shoe making materials. So we have Crinoline and I have about 2 different colors of Crinoline. The orange one is about 2 yards while the champagne is about 1 yard. Okay, so for the design I'll be using 3 yards. You could use about 2 yards if you don't want it as big as mine. So I have the face net, I have UHU glue, I have a glue gun and the glue stick, I have scissors, Evostic gum, measuring tape, needle and thread. So starting with the Maco, mine measures 23 inches in length by 2 inches in width. So this is for an head circumference of 22 inches. So I added 1 inch extra allowance. You could do 1.2 to 3 inches extra allowance for easiness on the head. And that allowance is actually for us to be able to overlap it at the back and also for easiness on the head. So if you are using an head circumference of about 23 inches, add 1 inch extra or 1.2 to 5 inches extra. Okay, so my width is 2 inches. Like I said, you could reduce the width if you want. You could make it about 1.7 to 1.8 inches, but I like this as it is on 2 inches. 23 inches by 2 inches is what I am using for mine. So I'm going to apply Evostic glue. Evostic glue is sold by those who sell bags and shoe making materials. Okay, so just apply little and allow it dry before you go ahead and put the two ends together. Okay, I've joined the two ends of my Maco together as you can see, and I'm using my scissors to beat that part so as to make it stick properly. Okay, so this is my asooke. It's actually an old gele. You know how gele is being sewn with 3 lines joined together, so I loosened it up and I have 2 lines for this project. So I'm going to cut out the asooke, which I'm going to be using to wrap my Maco. Using the measurement, the length is about 25 inches. Remember, the length of the Maco was 23 inches before the joining of the end. So I have asooke of the length 25 inches. So we have an extra 2 inches for us to be able to wrap our asooke properly on the Maco. So please add extra 2 inches to your own measurements. Okay, so for me to proceed, I needed to reduce the width of my asooke. The width of this particular asooke is 7 inches. So I actually reduced it to 5.5 inches for me to cover the Maco. So I just cut off that extra that I have there. And I'm going to use my asooke to wrap my Maco. Please watch how I'm going to do this. So this is how I'm going to wrap the Maco with the asooke. The part that I use my scissors to cut is going to be sitting inside the Maco, while the other side will be covering it. Okay, so I'll apply my Evostic glue. I'll apply the Evostic glue on the Maco, the inside of the Maco, and I'm going to wait a little for it to dry before I proceed to wrap it with the asooke. So the Evostic glue is a little bit dry at this point, and I just went ahead to place my asooke on it and wrap the Maco. So I started from the parts where I cut earlier. Okay, where I cut, the rough edges will be sitting inside, while the other fine edge will be wrapped over it to cover it. Okay, so as I'm wrapping it, I'm pulling the asooke towards the inside of the Maco to make the edges as neat as possible. This is very important for you to achieve a good or neat finishing. Before I continue to covering the other side of the inside of the Maco, I'm going to fold the edges, as the edges there outside. I fold it over once before I now come to the inside to continue the procedure. Okay, I just pull and make sure it is very neat while you're doing this. Now over to the next step. I have my asooke cut out using the length 45 inches. 45 inches, okay? So if the edge circumference you'll be working with is more than that of mine, please increase this particular piece of asooke for yours. You could make 47 or 48 inches. You can even make it up to 50 inches and trim off the excesses as you walk, okay? It's always better. So I have 45 inches and I've folded it into two. Okay, and I'm going to fold it again, but this time around I won't fold it into equal half the second time. So what you just do is this, or what I just did was this: I folded it in again and then I measured to give me 2 inches after folding into two twice. I will not be folding it into equal half the second time. So after folding the two twice, make sure you have about 2 inches. If you want yours to be lesser, you could do 1.5 inches after folding it into two twice, okay? So that's just the logic. I have 2 inches width after folding it into two twice. I'll go ahead to use my office pins to hold it down while I fold twice, just to keep it in place before I proceed to the next step. I'm going to use the folded piece of asooke to wrap my Maco like this. It's not going to be straight, okay? I'm doing it in a slanty manner, okay? And while you're wrapping, the space in between the slants is going to be the same. Make sure they're the same. So I have about half an inch. So the next one is also going to be half an inch like that till I go round. Also, please note that I started wrapping this piece from the back. Remember the part that we joined the Maco together? That is going to be the back of the design. So I started wrapping it from there, and that is where I'm going to end my wrapping, okay? At the end of the day, we're going to be covering that part with the design, okay? So see the way I'm wrapping in a slanty manner. If you have any excesses after wrapping, please go ahead and cut it off and just watch how I'm going to finish up with the wrapping. I didn't apply glue while wrapping, okay? I only tacked the first, that's the edge, down to the Maco when I started, which I'm going to use needle and thread to tack once I'm done wrapping. After wrapping, I'll just go ahead and tack the ends where I started from and where it's ending with needle and thread. I'll just tack it down to the Maco, as you can see. And please make sure that all the rough edges are actually hidden. So this last end that I have, I folded it in once and I went ahead to use my needle and thread to tack it down. If you want to use glue, you can use the glue, the hot glue at this point. But eventually I didn't use hot glue in this project. I only used UHU as time went on, okay? So I'm at the back, I'm done wrapping at this point, and I held it down with my office pin just to keep it in place, and I folded the edge in, as you can see, and I'm going to use my needle and thread to tack it down neatly. If you are yet to join the family, please do so by hitting the subscribe button and get notifications whenever I upload a new video. And today's shout out goes to Nikki Concept. watching from Akure, Ondo State, Nigeria. Thank you so much for watching my videos. I love you so much. If you would like me to give you a shout out in my next video, kindly leave a comment below stating where you are watching me from. Okay, I'm done wrapping and tacking at this point, and now I'm going to attach the face net. This is quite optional, but it makes the design look unique and beautiful. So the face net is just 1 yard, and that is 36 inches. And I used just 20 inches out of it. The width is about 10 inches. Okay, it's about 10 inches. You could actually reduce the width part probably when you're done with your job. I use it like that, and I may actually decide to reduce it later. Okay, but for the purpose of this training, I just went ahead to use the 10 inches like that. The width part depends on where you want your net to get to. If you want it to cover the eyes to the nose or towards the lips, then it's actually fine. You can leave it the way it is. I fold it into two to get the midpoint. I also get the midpoint of our headband, and I'm going to just place it like that, midpoint to midpoint, and I'll use my office pin to hold it down just to keep it in place while we proceed. So I'll just go ahead and take my net round or to where I want it to get to. So it's going to be stopping at the side, that's the hair, towards the hairs. I'll just attach it like that, make it as free as much as possible while attaching, so that it doesn't become tight on the face or start entering the eyes or nose, making you or your client uncomfortable. Okay, so I just folded the head like that in, and I tucked it in to our headband, and I'll use my office pin to hold it down. After which I'm going to use my needle and thread to secure it. So please watch. Now, going forward, starting with one end of the net, I tack with needle and thread, and I continued by using my UHE glue to fix the net onto the headband like this. You can decide to tack neatly with needle and thread if you want to, but for me, I used thread. I only use needle and thread to tack the two ends of the net to the headband. Okay, so I used my UHE glue to attach the other part of the net onto the headband. So the last piece we'll be needing for this project is this. I'll be cutting my asooke using the measurement 23 inches length, and the width is going to be 5 inches. I'm doing 5 inches. Okay, so I'll just mark 5 inches like that and cut off the excess. Okay, you could make it up to 24 to 25 inches. You can add an extra 1 inch or even up to 2 inches and trim off the excess while you work. Remember that we may end up using different measurement for the head circumference. Okay, so I just went ahead and then folded it. So I folded it like this, one end in and the other one over. The part that I use my scissors to cut is going to be hidden inside, as you can see. All right, you can use your iron if you like, or you use your glue to fix it like I'm doing, just to make it stay. Now this is going to be used to cover the inner part of the headband for neat finishing purposes. Okay, you can decide to use your hot glue. I don't know why I decided not to use the hot glue in this video at all. Probably because it's discovered that hot glue actually melts when walking or while in the sun. So if you have your headband, your headpiece, your headwear, fascinator, or wherever on you while walking under the sun, and if you use hot glue, it could actually melt, and all the accessories added or whatever is being used to make your headband disengage, and everything just scatters. So I don't know, I just recently I really do not use hot glue, especially for the outer part of my headwear. I'm using my UH glue at this point. I just apply as needed, and I'll allow it dry, and then I'm going to place it on the inner part of our headband. I tried as much as possible not to make this video long, but I didn't just want to trim off some important parts. Okay, so please bear with me. Final step is for us to attach our design. You can make a bow design or bow designs with your asooke fabric, or in this case I used crinoline. I have 3 yards of crinoline, like I said at the beginning part of this video. I have 2 yards of the orange one and 1 yard of the champagne gold. So this is the 2 yards, and I divided into 2. That's 36 inches into 2 places, and I'm going to form bows with the 3 of them. Okay, I'm going to attach them together and then attach to the back of my headband. I know many of you know how to create bows with crinoline. If you don't know how to create bows with crinoline, please watch till the end of this video. Okay? This brings us to the end of today's tutorial. I hope you enjoy it. Please tell me what you have learned in this video. If you are learning a different technique or what exactly you've learned, let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you all in my next video.